Episode 27. You know the feeling when a friend gets a promotion, a raise, a new car, or even just a compliment that makes them glow, and instead of being happy for them, you feel this sharp twist of something bitter, a sort of hollow ache in your chest. You convince yourself it's fine. You're just disappointed, not envious. You tell yourself it doesn't matter. But somewhere deep inside, you're already measuring your life against theirs. That's envy. It sneaks in quietly at first. It's not always obvious, and often we're too proud to admit it. But it makes us smaller, doesn't it? It narrows our focus to what we lack instead of what we already have. And in that narrowing, we miss the beauty in the world around us, the beauty in the relationships we've built, in the simple moments of joy, in the things that truly matter. I've been there. I've been in the thick of it, chasing after accolades, titles, and bank balances. I remember working day in and day out, trying to climb the corporate ladder, to impress the higher-ups, to make sure I was doing it right, whatever that meant. My life, it seemed, was all about comparison. How could I get what they had? How could I earn what they had? And I wasn't alone in this. Everywhere I looked, I saw people like me, driven by the same obsession with success, with advancement, with more. But there's something dark about that kind of drive. When you surround yourself with people who live by envy, who are always measuring themselves against others, you can't help but absorb it. You start to think that happiness lies in what you can accumulate. You start believing that the things you own define who you are. The more you collect, the more you feel like you matter. But here's the catch. Envy doesn't bring happiness. It brings only emptiness. It's like trying to fill a well that has no bottom. No matter how much you put in, it never feels enough. I've had the big house, the flashy car, the enviable position, and still, I felt empty. I could never quite fill the void. You see, I was living in envy, and envy never gives back. It only takes. It takes your joy. It takes your peace. It takes your ability to see the beauty in simple things. Things like the warmth of a hug, the quiet of a morning, the kindness of a stranger. And then there's the truth that hit me like a ton of bricks. I had spent so many years trying to please people, trying to impress them, but I wasn't living for me. I wasn't even living for God. I was living for others' approval, for a fleeting sense of validation. But that's not where peace comes from. It doesn't come from the applause of people or the numbers in your bank account. It comes from something deeper, a connection to something greater. And let me tell you, when I finally realized that, everything shifted. I had to stop measuring my worth against the world's standards. I had to stop chasing after the next promotion, the next raise, the next shiny thing. And when I did, I began to feel lighter. I stopped being obsessed with what I didn't have and started appreciating what I already had. I stopped living in comparison and started living in gratitude. I stopped looking at other people's success with envy and started celebrating it, truly celebrating it. Do you know what it feels like when you can truly rejoice in someone else's success? When you can look at them and feel genuinely happy for them without a trace of comparison or bitterness? That's freedom. That's the kind of transformation that heals you from the inside out. That's the kind of peace that passes all understanding. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. The world is full of temptations to compare, to measure, to feel inadequate. It's a constant battle to choose joy over envy, to choose contentment over greed, to choose gratitude over resentment. But let me tell you this, it's worth it. When you choose to live without envy, you open up a whole new world of possibilities. You start to appreciate the small moments, the way the sunlight dances on the water, the smile of a friend, the sound of laughter. You stop living for the approval of others and start living for something much deeper, something much more lasting. You begin to see that the true wealth in life isn't what you own or what you've achieved, but the love you give and receive, the connections you make, and the peace you cultivate within yourself. So I ask you, are you ready for that transformation? Are you ready to let go of that small seed of envy that has unnoticeably taken root in your heart and replace it with love, with empathy, with joy? It might not be easy, but it will be the most freeing thing you can do. Because once you stop living in comparison, you start living in gratitude. You start cherishing others' victories. You start living in peace. You start living in joy. And that, my friend, is the greatest treasure you could ever find. I am Nelly Ferrari, and I live the Kodach secrets.